Hi, this is Ria Flanagan with the Happiness Playbook Series. And today we have a really special guest. Jenny Harkle-Road is really awesome. She's going to tell us a little bit about her story, an app that she has, Leap Transformation, her business. She's also a coach. She certifies coaches as well. And I'm just really excited to share her with you and share. She's going to talk about the subconscious mind, the power of it, and she's here today. So, Jenny, you were just about to tell me some wisdom, share a little wisdom with me. And I was like, let's stop. Let's get our community in on this. So, thank you so much. Just excited to learn from you. So, yeah, tell me a little more about
Awesome.
you.
Thanks for having me, Ria. I'm super happy to be here today. And the quote that I was going to share, I'm going to look down and read it because I want to get it right, is the joy we feel has little to do with the circumstances of our lives and everything to do with the focus of our lives. And so when you think about that, if you could set a timer and ask yourself once an hour, what am I thinking right now? Is it a positive, beneficial thought taking me to where I want to go in life? Or is it something negative holding me back from where I want to go?
More of what we focus on.
Absolutely.
And you're so right on there. And, it is so powerful. And sometimes we can feel trapped in negative thoughts, and particularly if we're sick or we're not feeling good physically, that emotion, those emotions that go with that can really take over. And so you're really, yeah, I'd love to, if you are okay, sharing a little bit of your story and how you got here to do all this helping others.
I love that. Absolutely. And I just have to share real quick that, I used to be one of those chronic pain people, and I used to journal about it, trying to figure it out, trying to get over it. And just this past weekend, I found another one of those journals. And every time I find one, I like throw it in a fire or shred it. I don't even want to remember that person. And that time in my life, it was so difficult. So my heart goes out to anybody who's struggling, and you can get over it. I know you can. So I got a tickle. Sorry. My story is that I did suffer from chronic pain for most of my life, and I didn't know why. And I thought, just how unlucky am I that I have all these physical ailments? And I did my best to put on a happy face and push through it. But then on August 10th of 2013, I was standing on this mountain ledge with my husband, and innocently, he said, if I was young and in shape, I'd jump off of here. And I thought, well, I've been going to the gym every day. I'm pretty young and in shape. And I jumped. And when I landed, I heard a crunch in my back and I couldn't move. And he ended up calling 911. They sent in a ground crew. The ground crew couldn't get me up. They sent in life flight. They ziplined me up to a hovering helicopter. And the next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital because they had pumped me with morphine in that helicopter, thank goodness. But when I woke up, they told me, you broke your back. Yeah.
No, that is, and that is a serious, serious break. I mean, takes years. It could take years to heal.
Absolutely. And thankfully, I wasn't paralyzed. I was just broken. And they said, it's a broken bone. It'll heal. And so go home and rest, which I wasn't very good at because I had 4 little kids and I had a busy real estate business. And I was running the women's organization in my church, and I was fundraising in my community,
She's a doer, everyone.
doing all the things. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, nothing? Like, it was obvious I couldn't move. So I laid there thinking, what do I want different in my life? Besides healing, of course, I want to get better. But, I've been putting on a happy face for so long, faking that everything's good. And it's actually not good because I'm tired of all these body issues. Why am I always in pain? Why am I always hurting? Why is something always physically wrong with me? Why do I not really like my husband anymore? I mean, I married the guy. What's going on there? How come I don't really like this career anymore? It's fun and exciting in the beginning, and now it's just like, it's like a ball and chain. Like, I have to do it because now I have this lifestyle, you know?
Wow.
And I was thinking, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix all these things. And I had tried to fix all these things before, with going to different doctors and therapists and prayers and all the things. I didn't know what else to do, my positive affirmations and again, faking it. till I made it, but I wasn't making it. I was just faking it. And I lay there thinking, man, like something has to change. Something has to change. But first, I need to heal my back. Right? I need to get out of bed.
And it's making you not do, right? Like, there's something powerful about your story. Well, so many things that you're here now with us, but this piece of you were forced to sit with yourself. I think when we're doers, we can do it, and that can be a way we can push down our feelings and not, right, and kind of survive. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe not be happy. Maybe we're functioning. Maybe we look great, and everyone thinks we're doing amazing, but it doesn't mean we're happy.
Yeah,
It made you really sit with yourself.
for sure. And I didn't think it was going to be that long. I mean, they told me 6 weeks, which sounded like an eternity. But it turned out to be 3 years. Yeah. I needed a lot of thinking time, a lot of thinking time.
You sure got it. Wow.
I got it. And you know what happened? I mean, here's the reason I got it. If I would have gotten better, I would have gone back to all the same old stuff.
Yeah, there it is, right? You needed the time for the transformation.
I needed the time, but also I needed the understanding. What actually helped me, because I tried all these natural things to get better, chiropractor, acupuncture, massage, physical therapy, all that. Then when that wasn't working, I convinced doctors to put rods and screws and a synthetic disc in my back. I was like, I'm sure this will fix it. It didn't. So now what? And they're like, just keep taking pain pills. Well, pain pills don't fix it. They take the edge off, right?
And they can also cause other problems like addiction.
Of course, of course. So I was blessed to meet a medical doctor, Dr. Warren Jacobs, MD. When I met him, he was 86. I just went to his 95th birthday party the other day. 86 years old, and he told me that I could heal myself with my mind. And I was like, what kind of doctor are you?
We gotta do, right? Yeah.
With my mind, how would I do that? And really what we discovered, without going into too much detail here, we could take all day, is that it was tension in my mind causing tension in my body that was causing the pain. It wasn't that I broke my back. That was 3 years ago, right? Like my back was honestly better. I even had surgery, right? They fixed it. The pain was coming from tension in my body, coming from tension in my mind, coming from all the things that were going wrong in my life. And the funny thing is, I remember seeing a therapist and he's like, why don't you fix your back and then we'll deal with your life? But one was causing the other.
They're connected. It's all
Connect. And I didn't understand that at all. It's the model we grow up in is something hurts and you go see a doctor because that something's wrong with that part of your body. And that can be true. I'm not saying it's not, but it could also be caused from something emotional. And that's what was going on with me my whole life. And I didn't realize it.
yeah, sometimes that starts in childhood with childhood trauma, or child makes up a beliefs about them, like I'm wrong or something's wrong with me, or and then they have these emotions that come with that. And even what you're describing, like living a life that you're not really in your true purpose, which it sounds like you are now,
Mhm.
living a life in your true purpose. I think, yeah, we can almost like try on life or a job or a relationship or whatever and think like, oh, this is how we do it, and not really be true to ourselves. And it sounds like this really accident, right? This terrible injury, but then brought you into your purpose and alignment with what you're supposed to be, which is so powerful and so good for other people to hear. Right.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just did a little podcast this week, when things go wrong, when things fall apart, right? Really talking about how that's sometimes when we actually get put back together more.
Mhm.
So it is in the darkness that the light comes. And trauma, the other piece I want to share is, living with trauma unresolved can lead to the physical pain like you're talking about. We have a lot of research that supports that now. The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. He talks all about that. So thank you so much. And yet, and tell me more. So you started working with this doctor and he started helping you.
Yeah, he started helping me. We started unraveling what all the tension was coming from. And 6 sessions later, after working with him, I was completely healed. I mean, like I could do handstands and back bends. I mean, healed.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And I went back to him with my laundry list of everything I wanted different in my life. Can we get off the pain pills? Can we fix the marriage? Can I get rid of the bad temper, lose weight? I mean, the list went on and on and on and on. And yes, one by one, we transformed everything on that list.
Wow.
And I was just like, what? How did this happen? I mean, I became obsessed. And at the time, I was selling real estate. Someone would call me, you want to sell my $1 million house? I'd say no. But you know about the power of your subconscious mind? Oh my gosh, you can change anything with your subconscious mind. People thought I was crazy. Maybe I am a little bit, but now it's becoming more and more normal to realize that your mind is controlling your reality. It's the perception and the lens through which you see the world. And if you don't like the lens, now we scientifically know how to change the lens. So it's not like suppressing the truth or ignoring the truth, or no, you can like literally change your cellular response. So for me, the bad temper is gone. Ask my husband, it's gone. How? Because I changed it from a cellular level. You can change things like that. It's fascinating.
I know working myself, I do some post-induction therapy in my childhood trauma workshops. It really does sort of move into that subconscious. And I do see a lot of shifting there. It worked for me. It's why I do it with others. Can you share a little bit about the techniques that you use now and that helped you so we can know more about them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first, when I studied with this doctor, the basis of his work was called Touch for Health. And so, first, I went and learned that. But then he kind of, again, used that as his foundation and had his own way of doing things. And then I studied Psyche, emotion code, different other methods of subconscious transformation. And then after a while, I'm a go-getter, right?
Yes, it's your strength.
And I wanted more freedom with the technique to share it, to demonstrate it, to talk about it. And when I was using other people's work, there were some limitations. And so what I decided was to create my own work. And I didn't really know how to create my own work because, I have a real estate license.
That's
I'm not a doctor or psychologist or scientist. And I hired a business coach, Michael E. Gerber, the author of the E-Myth series of books. And he said, here's how you do it, Jenny. It's called a blank piece of paper and a beginner's mind.
love that.
Yeah. And so one day I was at my office in between clients and I got a no-show or a reschedule and I had an hour. There I had a blank piece of paper and my beginner's mind. And I just created my own transformation work. 3 levels originally, and then I added a 4th level later. And then I had it tested scientifically, neuroscience tested, cellularly tested, energy field tested, because I want to make sure that what I created that I thought worked actually did scientifically. So it's called Summit Transformation. That's the name of my work. And now I have about 50 coaches, a little over 50 coaches certified in my work. And I love sharing it. And really, the basis is, what do you want different in your life? We use muscle testing. Muscle testing is a way your body can communicate. Your body knows the answer. So use muscle testing to see what's going on. Brain exercises that I created to repattern the subconscious mind. Then we set action and we track progress. That's the cycle. That's how we do it.
That is so inspirational. And I just appreciate having you again on this podcast, sharing this with others. Maybe some people will gravitate and want to be coached by you or one of your coaches. And I think there's not one way to heal too. Like, I think it's so powerful that finding the right person for you. And again, like, you can't see a million people. I can't see a million people, but the people that are right for you will find you, and you're putting yourself out there. And it's very similar for me too. And also, I'm very inspired by you creating this method because I've always been called to that as well. And I have so many different trainings over the years and had been like, how do I do it? And what does it look like? And how do I, do it officially? And I love that piece of paper and right, beginner's mind. I mean,
Right?
so brilliant sharing that. That meant a lot to me. Thank you. And also I hope, people really hear that because I think sometimes people say to me, "Oh, Ria, it's amazing, what you've done." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I was the right person for you. You really did it, right? You really did it." And I think that my book, Happiness is an Inside Job, playbook, I really am trying to empower people that it is within you. If
Right.
you really want to heal, if you really are determined, like you said, do where you want it to happen, and yeah, you do have to do things. There are things involved.
Yes.
It's possible for everyone. And your story is so inspiring because you, right, could have stayed stuck in that cycle, like you said. So many people do and just think there's no other way.
Right.
So I think your story is so helpful that people are like, wow, like I can just learn from her. I don't have to break my back. And, I don't have
Right.
to, I can learn just from her sharing that she did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There are no limits except for the limits we think there are.
Isn't that right? I think that we can be in fear, right? And boxed into an idea of like, oh, I can't do that because I'm not the expert or right. That's for the doctor, that's for someone else. But it's like, no, if you create something that heals and you tested it and you have the evidence, right? That right can change lives and that's what matters, right? So it is encouraging other healers to come out and find their language and their expertise because there's so many people that do need support, right? And if we have methods, let's get them out there. Let's get everybody changing and living. What world would we be in if everyone was truly in their authentic purpose and self and like again, you lost the anger, the weight, the how's your relationship with your husband now?
Yeah. Awesome. So good.
It's so much about a lot of times people will come and they're like, oh, I have to change my husband. The only thing we have the power to change is ourselves. But when we change, everything changes.
For sure. The dance. When they do a different dance move, you go along.
So powerful that message. So yeah, I love this. I love that you're sharing. And so how did you go from, starting to write things down to actually getting it out in the world, right? I think a lot of people, even just publishing a book, I had that like, oh my God, it's actually gonna be out in the world and some fear. I think there's sort of this, you have to overcome a lot to even present yourself with something in the world. How did you move through that?
Yeah. I mean, I use my own work on myself every day. Anytime a fear or a negative thought or a limiting belief comes up, I ask myself what I call the golden question, which is how would I rather feel? And then I do a brain exercise to literally repattern my brain to feel that way. And so I honestly don't know how I would have built this business without my own work because, in the past real estate, it was a more acceptable business. It was, everybody does it, everybody know what it is. Here's the commission. It's pretty straightforward. But in 2016, when I started telling people they could heal themselves with their mind, they're like, who are you? What are you talking about? I think you're a little bit crazy. So it was a little scary. Also, why did you get out of real estate? Like, weren't you the top producer in San Diego in your company? What is happening right now? So yeah, I've been doing so much of my own work on myself to be confident and have fun and just enjoy the process and like you said, the right people who you will help most will find you and they're finding me and I love that. I love helping people who are ready to make a change in their life use a tool that they didn't have before that will make the difference for them.
Yeah, that is really powerful. And I think could you if I was to come to you, maybe just kind of present to others like a little piece of that. So if I was to come to you and go, hey, I'm starting this podcast and I'm really in fear and I
Mm.
feel like I don't want to do it, but I know I need to do it. And how like what would you have me do so that like maybe a little exercise or something to showcase kind of get an idea of it. So if I was like, oh, I'm just in fear, I can't
Yeah.
I can't show up. Like I had these appointments, but I just can't make it on time or whatever it is, right? What would
Yeah.
you say to me? How would you guide me? Maybe just a sample for people.
So I ask you the golden question. How would you rather feel? Oh, tell me the answer. How would you rather?
Confident. I would rather feel confident and just be in passion and just,
Ah,
yeah, free, calm, confident, relaxed.
yeah. Okay. So we would take that as your goal statement. If I was working with you privately, I'd muscle test it to see if you believe in it or not.
Okay, this is like, is that how you do it?
I do. I do the little finger lock test.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. Someone showed me that. I like kinesiology. Is that
Yeah.
like, right?
Kinesiology.
Kinesiology. Thank you. Yeah. And so, okay, so I muscle test. Do I just pull to see if that feels true?
Yeah, so I would be doing the muscle test as the coach. Yeah, so you would say the statement, and literally when you say something, it sends an energetic signal. And so I'm not consciously aware of it, but my subconscious, my body can read it like easily. All right. And so you say something, I muscle test it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you don't believe you're confident in this podcast or whatever the goal was, that you can be on time or manage all the things. Yeah. So then I'll ask you to use the wisdom of your own body. What do you think you need? And I'll give you some options. And you don't even consciously know what they are, but your subconscious again can pick up what I know and choose the right tool. And depending, you might just not believe it. You might have a subconscious block to it. You might need to like have a aha, an understanding, an awareness of something to move past it. So your body knows, it will tell me with the muscle test, and then I'll take you through that process depending on which process you choose, and I test it to be accurate. So it's something like body postures, breaths, visualizations, just simple things like that, slowing the brain down into a more programmable state, into a whole brain state, into a state of super learning. It's like maybe a 10-minute process on average. Yeah, not too long. And then I have you say the statement, I muscle test it, and guess what? Ta-da! Now you believe it. So now that you believe it, you can achieve it. So now what are you going to do different? You're going to change in your life because your subconscious is in alignment to what you consciously want. What action are you going to take? So maybe you say, I'm going to put 15 or 20 or 30 minutes in between each appointment so I can check my emails, bio break, whatever, get back, get organized, get started instead of trying to pack too many things in or whatever it is.
Yeah, so helpful and always like actually that's so accurate because I can go back to back and then be like, why am I doing that? I can create the space.
Right.
I manage my schedule. I can do that, right? And so why am I making myself work like a workhorse when I don't need to do that?
I'm the boss.
I can really be mad at myself, right? Like, I can't blame
Yeah,
anyone else.
exactly.
It's terrible, but I think the subconscious, there's reasons we do the things we do, right? So that is modeled for me, or right, that is what I think I have to do to be successful. And I think what you're sharing is so really powerful because what you believe you can achieve. And I do believe that my book will like sell over 1 million books. I do believe that, but maybe I don't fully. Like, we have to ask ourselves, like, is there moments of doubt, right? Where we're like, what am I doing? Who am I to do that? Or, you know,
Yeah.
having a coach, somebody like you, right? Somebody, or maybe it's me for someone else or somebody else for someone, but having that support and that person that actually walks you through a process. Because if that support, even the connection that you are supporting someone and then that person's receiving the support.
Yeah. And the accountability. So next week when I meet with you, did you put the gap in between your appointments?
Yeah. Did you do the thing? In my book, I have daily practices and where people write things out and do different things. And it's so important that you do the things because you can know that gratitude can bring up and increase happiness in a moment. Oh, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful that I can have a podcast, that I can write a book, that I can share with others. But if I don't do that process, then it's just stuck in my brain, something I know.
Right.
It's not in action. It's not making change. Having that person to facilitate the change, like the action is because we get in our own way.
Of course. We take piano lessons. I mean, we could learn it ourselves, but we don't practice if we don't have to report to anybody.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Do you have the situation where sometimes clients cancel because they didn't do their homework, right? They didn't do the thing.
Usually, I'm pretty kind. I'm pretty easy on them. And the subconscious change work we do, the brain exercise, really facilitates a lot of transformation. So when we follow up and we track their progress on the action, I just ask them, what percent of your action plan did you do? And they'll give me a percent. And one of the options is, haven't done it, but still plan to do it. That's okay. Glad we could talk about it and remind you, but still, what percentage of improvement have you had in your goal just from the brain work? And it's usually, I mean, we get an average 57% improvement after one brain exercise per goal within a week. So it's powerful, the subconscious mind.
That is, and when you say it like that, you really have to think about, if you're not working with the subconscious consciously with clients, what are you really doing, right? Because again, the cognitive, just the conscious isn't enough to create the change, or they would have done it already.
Right.
So having tools like you have created and all of that is really going to be what people need.
For sure. There's a video on YouTube that I love. Your audience can look it up if they want. It's called a backward bicycle. And basically, this guy, his friends weld him a bicycle that the steering is backwards. And they tell him, when you steer right, it goes left. And when you steer left, it goes right. Do you think you can ride it? And he's like, well, yeah, you just told me how to do it. Right? Here's the problem. He has a subconscious program for how to ride a bike that overpowers his conscious knowing. So his body automatically adjusts the normal way, even though he knows it's opposite. And he can't ride the bike. And it's just like blowing his mind. 'Cause he's like, I know you told me it's backwards. Like, just have to go opposite. But his body's programmed to just do it the right way, you know?
Yeah.
He takes this bike around the world. He offers people $200 to ride it 10 feet, and no one in the whole world can ride the backward bicycle. And he says that knowledge doesn't equal understanding. Just because you read a communication book doesn't mean you're gonna get along better with your husband the next day. Because you know it, but it's not embodied. It's not who you are. How do you make something who you are? That's through the subconscious. And that's why we do that work. It's a million times more powerful than the conscious mind. And according to scientists, controls us 95% of the time.
Well, right there, it helps more understanding even around addiction. Because if you're just, if people struggle stopping, they want to stop.
Yeah.
They know that it's not right. I mean, people end up losing their families or lives. Nobody signs up for that.
Right.
So I think what you said and even correlating that to the backwards bicycle actually is so helpful for people, because when you get that, like, even though I get that it's wrong, right? People are still doing it. And then people just think, oh, they're bad. And they're not bad. They are being controlled by the subconscious mind.
Right. Right. And we get down on ourselves, right? I said I was going to eat better this week. Dang it.
Yeah. Something's wrong with me, we make up, right? I'm the problem, right? And that facilitates more addiction or more trying to, numb out because it doesn't feel good.
Hey,
So when we understand this, and you coming out of also having to take pain pills and all this time, right? You really did understand that you had to change the subconscious, or when you met that doctor, right? He helped you understand that.
yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I had tried to change so many times. Like my temper, oh my gosh, I would say like, okay, next time this thing my husband does, I'm not going to get mad. And it would happen and I'd already be mad before I could decide not to be mad, right? Like that backward bicycle. And I'm like, dang it. Now how do I get unmad? Because I'm so mad.
Right. And your nervous system, right, is just the same pattern.
Same pattern. How do I stop this like stick of dynamite, you know? And I reprogrammed it with the subconscious mind. Haven't felt that in 5, 6, 7, I don't know how many years. Amazing.
Really powerful. I think in many ways, EMDR does do that too. Like I work with the vets, and I use buzzies where people hold and it actually like buzzes side to side. And some of the questioning is similar but different, right? But kind of like, what do you want to believe? What do you believe? And then we do a process that's very regimented, and they hold these buzzies, and in the breathing and the emotions and in the body, it starts changing.
Awesome.
So it's very cool. I mean, again, it's like you're getting out to people that need this help. And I'm so grateful that you're in the world, that you're sharing your story. And I'd love to share also like more of what you do so people can find you, and also your app, which, by the way, congratulations, just got picked up by a healthcare. Yeah, so big. So tell us about that, because that's going to come and more people are going to be able to have access to you. So great.
Absolutely. You know, I want to get the work out to more people who want it. Not everybody wants it. And I realize that. Not everybody wants to do inner work or transformation work. But if you do, I feel like I have the shortcut and I want to give the shortcut to everyone. And so, how do I do that? I was thinking, what can I do? And I first created it in a website, and it's like having an interactive session with me. It's like a chat bot and AI and neuroscience, and it takes you down all these different paths based on what you're trying to solve or achieve or feel different or personal growth. And then after a couple years of using it and having great results with clients, we decided to put it in an app because, apps are just easier. They're accessible, affordable. Anyone can go to the App Store, Google Play Store and get it. So now it's in an app. It's called Leap Transformation. And again, it's just in the App or Play Store. And it does the same thing I described. It asks you the golden question: how would you rather feel? Or what are you trying to solve or achieve or work on? And it helps you retrain your brain in a fun and gamified way for that thing. And so I tell people, like, how much time do we spend on our physical body? Like, I love to exercise and I exercise every day. But what about my mind? How much time do I spend on my mind? And so add your mind into your process, right? You want your mind supporting you your whole life. Whatever you tell it, it creates. And so if you want to change the story, there's two ways to do it. You can consciously try, 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 try. But remember, the subconscious is a million times more powerful. So it's always going to win. So it gets frustrating and discouraging, the trying. So instead, what if you could just change the brain, repattern the subconscious to be in alignment with what you consciously want? Then all of a sudden, there's ease in your life, and you just naturally, the way you want to be, and the way you want to feel and think and act and react automatically instead of trying so much. So that's why I created the app. So I hope people will check it out.
Yeah, we could all use a shortcut.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who are in the process or working on or helping others even. I think, right, we want to get there sooner. And so, with you've been tested, you've got it out there. I think LEAP, correct transformation, leap transformation. And I mean, I'm definitely gonna download your app. I'm excited to try what you do. I love learning new things. And so for those of you who, feel like you're trying and you're trying and you tried everything, here's something new. Here's something that has some testing, that has some, belief around it, that is working, that she's seeing results. She saw them herself, right? And now she gives them to others. So definitely, I'm all about trying everything until you find the thing that's right for you. And it sounds like you've helped so many people. So again, any other websites, any other information that you want to share with our community today before we wrap up? Just any.
Yeah. So my main website is called balancedyou.org. And there's lots of freebies on my website that you can download to help yourself with health and wellness, with relationships, with professional success. So check out my freebies and learn about the power of your subconscious mind and how you can change it to align it so that your life is the way you want it to be, and so that you can feel the way you want to feel, because your thinking controls your feeling. And so if you don't like the feeling, you got to change the thinking. But the easiest way is change it subconsciously so it's automatic. So automatic happy, sign me up.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And so thank you so much for joining me today and teaching me today. And I wish you all the best with your app. Yay, getting picked up and out in the world for others. And so keep doing the great work. And again, this is Ria Flanagan with Happiness Playbook Series. We're so glad to help like anybody, even if it's one person, right? Today, then is a day well spent. So I am so grateful for my community. I'm so grateful to be able to host other like-minded, just professional people that are helping others. And so please pay it forward, subscribe, like, send it to a friend. We really appreciate you. And I really hope this helps. So thank you so much, everyone. I will see you next week. We're going to be doing Mondays at 5, posting on YouTube. And it will go to other media sites as well. So thank you so much. And I'm going to say goodbye, signing off. Okay.